welcome back to StoneMagpie for this interim video. I had the debate with myself about whether to do this or not and decided that yes, I am going to, because I've had some comments about doing a whip and chat, and I thought, well, you know, what a better time than whilst I was starting to do the animals in the scales here, because I'm very excited about doing them, even though I'm a little bit nervous about what detail I'm going to get. So I thought, right, let's have a go at doing a whip and chat. I wanted you to see the setup first before I zoom into this section here. So in front of me, I've got my tic-tac boxes, some with items in, some with arrows and bits of nature and transport and body bits. Then next to that, I've got my boxes with squares and circles, with crosses, and I've called this cards, it's more like math. Then to my left, I've got my three other boxes, one containing tech, one containing letters and moons and U-shapes, and one containing lines. So that's how I'm set up. I'm going to try and get you a good view of what I can see. So bear with me one moment and I will be back with you. Okay, here we are. I've got a nice overhead view, but hopefully you can see the symbols quite clearly too. And I'm going to start with the little Christmas tree type symbol. So I've got some in my tray already, and I've got a few over here. This is quite a good opportunity as well for you to see how many I get into a section, because this part of the canvas is quite confetti heavy. So not only am I doing a whip and chat, it's also great for you to see just what it's like. Now I'm tending to go across the way and then down. And as I said in my last video, I've done a bigger section than what I would normally do to try and get all of the animals finished. So, because I wanted you to be able to see as I went along. So I'm doing a bigger section, and I've also got the camera now right in front of my face. So I hope I don't hit it at some point. Right. So as you can see, this is what it tends to be like with these symbols, is the odd one here and there. And I am using square diamonds, as you know. And I know some people like to go in lines with square diamonds to try and keep them lined up really well. I don't tend to work that way. I tend to just plonk them on randomly anyway, and then squeeze them together as I go along. So it's funny, isn't it, how everybody seems to find their own ways of working with squares. But I mean, there's no way on earth that you'd be able to do a checkerboard on this type of Josephine Wall picture. There's just not enough of the colours together to be able to do it anyway. So there's quite a few here, which is good. So I hope you're all well, and I hope that you're enjoying your own diamond painting. I do find doing YouTube videos that it's a shame that we can't sort of share all at the same time. I never really set up this channel to be me. I just wanted to be able to help people out and give advice if I can. Oh, look, I've got those trees that I've just done there. And when I was on one of the Facebook groups a little while ago, I mentioned about this happening, and I called it symbol blindness. And do you know, I think it's catching, because quite a few people replied on Facebook and were saying, yes, I think I suffer from that too. Oh, dear me. There was quite a few comments I think there was close to 300 comments, and we all agreed that it does happen, symbol blindness. It reminds me of the Kit Kat advert. I don't know if it was just a UK advert, but we have a chocolate bar called Kit Kat, and the slogan was "Take a break, have a Kit Kat," and they used to film it in something like a zoo, and there'd be a man with a camera trying to catch a really good photograph of an animal, and he'd have a break and he'd get out his Kit Kat, and as soon as he did and turned his back, all the animals used to come out and play behind him. And then as soon as he'd finished his break and turned back round, the animals weren't there anymore. So I don't know why I'm thinking of that, but it kind of reminds me of, as soon as you're not looking for these symbols, they pop out, jump out and say, "Hello, I'm here." Oh, dear me. Anyway, it tickles me anyway. Right, so there we go, got 4 in the middle here. I think if you were intent on doing lines at a time, you would find it a lot slower than the way I do it. But it's not a race, it's just finding your own way of doing it, I suppose. Try it both ways, see which way that you prefer. Because as you can see, I'm placing them on, but they're not particularly, they're all right, square on. But if I get them a little bit wonky, then I just push them into place when I fill in the gaps next to it, and it seems to be working for me. Be interesting how you do it. I'd like to know if you're doing square diamond paintings that are quite confetti heavy like this. What do you do? Do you do as I do? Do you go by colour and then squish them up as you go along, or do you go symbol by symbol? I think that's why I prefer diamond painting to cross stitch now, because with cross stitch you really have to sort of keep to the colours one by one. It's a long time since I've done a cross stitch actually. So with this, with diamond painting, it's a lot more random, isn't it, where you have to start. You don't have to start anywhere particularly, you just choose a colour and plonk them on and get on with it. Whereas with cross stitch you have to find the middle and then do the stitches on a, you know, going by a separate piece of paper normally. So, sorry, I knew I'd go quiet when I was trying to find symbols. Yeah, but with diamond painting, honestly, you really can't make any mistakes, because even if you did something drastic like put the wrong colour onto the symbol, you can just pick them off. I know it's annoying and can be frustrating and it takes time, but you know, it's fixable. So I think that's why I find it quite relaxing. Right, I'm using these little tubs when I've got like odd random ones. But that'll do for there, so. Pie chart. I hope you can see these symbols really clearly, because some of them are really good fun, as I've mentioned in my video before. I do like the pictures that they've chosen to do these with. See, I'm doing it the opposite way now. I started at the top going along and now I'm starting at the bottom going along, and does it matter? Not at all. Change it up a bit. No. Now, you saw there that I actually discarded a diamond. Don't know where it is now. It just had a little bit of an edge on it. That meant that the next one wouldn't sit quite flush. I'm finding the odd ones as I'm using more. At the start I didn't find anything like that at all. Now I'm starting to find a few random ones. But I'm hoping that I have enough diamonds to not use the ones that have little, I call them nobules, or on the side. That stops sitting them sitting flush to each other. Okay. So yeah, do comment below on what you're working on, and if you do have a Facebook page, please find my StoneMagpie, and I like to see what other people are working on, and this is what I was saying about my channel. I really wanted it to be like an interactive channel, and I'm not quite sure yet about how I could do that more. Sorry, I'm just looking for this symbol here. Oh, I found it. Oh, it was in the question mark box. I think what I might do eventually, when I've looked into it, is perhaps do live sessions where I could have my Facebook next to me and people can ask questions and comment, and I'd be able to answer things. I think that would work really well, rather than you know, just sit here talking to you like this without being able to get any feedback from you, apart from the comments, of course, afterwards. Right, where was that cross again now? Sorry, I've taken my eye off the ball. There we are. Okay, it's quite slow going doing such a big section, I have to say. I feel like I'm normally going a lot quicker than this. Right, I'm going to pour some of these in my tray because I can see that there's more than a couple. You can hear that crunch. So satisfying when it goes in and it crunches like that. Okay, so I saw some 5s up here. I know on my previous videos I've had people come in and tell me what Josephine Wall picture they're working on. I love that, the fact that other people are joining in and choosing pictures and getting brave about how many colours that they're using. I love it, it's great. To me, it's a little bit like having a jigsaw puzzle, and you're finding the pieces and putting them together and creating absolutely beautiful pictures. So there we go. Any more of those anywhere? Let's have a little look. I've forgotten what it looks like. Oh yes, a square of dots. And it doesn't matter if I miss a few, because I will just go back and sort it out a bit when I get back up to them. I tend to look at the next symbol on this, you know, going down, and choose that one and then work my way along. So if you're wondering how I'm choosing my next colours, that's what I do. Now, I would have said that was a little phone. I don't think I've done this one before. Have I put it in squares instead? No. Now then, where have I put that then? Because that looks like a phone, but it's not in my tech box. Oh, there it is. Oh, it is in my tech box. I'd be surprised if there's more than one of these then, because, as I say, I've not used that one before. Let's have a quick scoot along. just in case. There we go. Little spanner. Put a few in. Right, any more spanners? You're probably shouting out at the screen. You probably can see them so clearly while I'm faffing about. There's one, to try and find them. It's probably driving you mad. Like, there's one. There's two here. Oh, and one underneath, so. And one there. So if you saw those and you were like, there, it's there, then hopefully, there we go. Hopefully, you know, I'm not annoying you too much by not being able to see them straight away. Okay, next, number 8. There we go. I can only see one so far, so I'll just use the little tubs. Any others? Okay. So I'm sat in the conservatory, and it's been quite a warm day in the UK today, so it is a little bit warm in here, and I don't open the window because if flies come in, Monty, my little dog, just barks all the time, so I'm having to keep the windows closed. But I've seen on Facebook that people with cats don't seem to be able to get on sometimes because the cat sits on their canvas. So at least I don't have that problem. At least if Monty barks, then he will stop. Oh look, I've got lots of pie charts. See, they've just popped out at me. Oh dear me. Yeah, so he doesn't come and sit on the table, thankfully. But it must be quite cute to have an animal sat on the table next to you while you're diamond painting. Okay. So if I can show you, if I can see one. Ah, there. There is one diamond here. I don't know if you can see there. That's just got a tiny, tiny little hole. So I'm not using that, but if I end up running out of colours, I will use it. I'm not sure how many spares I'm going to have left. With this being my first Josephine Wall picture, I don't know how generous they are with their diamonds until I get to the end, so we will see. And then of course, if I'm left with all the ones that have problems, it might look a little bit rubbish. So whether I would contact Diamond Painting Deutschland and ask for some more, I'm not sure. Let's hope we don't have to experience that. Let's hope there's plenty for me to pick out the good ones and leave the rest. If you've ever done a Josephine Wall from Germany, the Deutschland site, would you let me know in the comments how many diamonds you tend to have left, if you've ever run out of any? Because I think that might be quite useful for people to know, actually. Of course, I'll be able to join in that conversation when I've finished my painting as well, so I'll be able to show you just what I've got left. I'm just doing that camera symbol now. Any more cameras up here? Okay, just move those out of the way. When they're up here, I can't see that well because I've got my reading glasses on and they're a bit distant. Normally I'm a bit closer than that, but I've got to leave room for my phone to pick it up. Actually, has it moved? Just sorry if I made you feel a little bit seasick then, but yeah, that's better, isn't it? Okay, so, don't know. Oh yes, because I'm looking sort of quite distant for me, I'm hoping I'm plonking them in the right place, you know, nice and square on. If not, I'll have to check afterwards and just push the diamonds around a little bit to get them into the square. Okay, are we done with cameras? I think so. There we go. So next I'll do this here, which is it's like a cross. It's like a rectangle with crosses in it. I can only see that one so far. Oh no, there's one up there as well. So I'm using my little box and just dabbing my pen in to pick one up. So, another thing, I know I'm asking a lot of you. I'm asking you loads of questions. The comments hopefully will run off the page because I also want to know how you feel about confetti. Have you ever worked on a project that has this much confetti going on? And by confetti, if you don't know, what I mean is lots of odd symbols where you get the 1 and 2 together and you don't have the big area of the same colour. That's what we call confetti. Would you like working with that, or do you prefer to have big areas of one colour? I think that would be interesting to know. I don't mind confetti. I think it's quite good fun. It's quite challenging, I know. But saying that as well, I don't mind big areas. I like a bit of a mix of both, I think, so that once you've finished something like this that is quite, I'm not going to say laborious, because if it was laborious, I probably wouldn't do it. Oh, look, there's one of those. But then to be able to have a nice patch that you can just do the same colour is nice afterwards as well. So what do you think, guys? What do you think? Do you like confetti, like the challenge of it? Or do you like big areas with, say, like a background that's all one colour? Do you know, I've seen some stunning designs with like a black background. And I know people are like, oh no, 310. But they look stunning once they're done. I've not done one of those. So maybe I need to look for one to have a go at. I've not actually done a black and white either. So there are two things that I might actually have a look for. I can see loads of spanners now. There we go. I'm sorry if that's been driving you mad and you've seen them already. Anyway, we'll get to them eventually. It doesn't matter. Oh no, you see, now that one's got a little hole in it, so I'm just going to pick it off and choose another one instead. Here. I've had comments on my videos before about how quick I am at diamond painting, but you wouldn't think so, would you, watching this? I didn't think I was particularly quick. I don't like to race. I like to enjoy it. I don't want to be like, oh, done that one, next, done that one, next. I really want to just enjoy the process. I think that's why I really like these large pictures. And I would definitely do another Josephine Wall. In fact, I have got my eye on one. Breaking news. There may well be another Josephine Wall series. So, I think I'm addicted, you know. Right, I'm just looking for these arrows. My hand keeps sticking on the side because it's a bigger section. There we go. I was thinking as well, when doing the animals, one of the reasons that this particular picture spoke to me, not only because it's beautiful, as I've spoken about before, having the two different sides, I just find it stunning, but also, as soon as I saw this picture, being a Libra, having the African animals on it was amazing to me, and I'll tell you why. Because when I was a little girl, I'm talking maybe about 4 years old, we moved to Africa. We actually lived in Zambia, and I don't have loads of different memories about my time there, but one very clear memory was that Mum and Dad, we were all in the car, I was in the back. I think we were travelling through, we'd been to Victoria Falls and we were travelling through. So I was sort of sleeping in the back of the car. You know, seatbelts weren't, you know, you didn't have to wear a seatbelt then. I don't know if you do now, actually, in Africa. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, I was laid on the back seat of the car and I could see all of the trees, you know, as we were driving along above us. I could see all the shadows of the trees and it lulled me into sleep. And then Mum woke me up and she was like, Suzanne, wake up, look over there. And I looked up and there was a beautiful family of elephants just in the distance. And they were all walking in a line, and it was just unbelievable. And the colours were these oranges. It was like, I don't know if it was dawn or sunset. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember that yet. But, oh, it was just amazing. And so that's one of my earliest memories. I also remember when it rained in Africa, it was like, it was boiling hot, sun belting down. Then all of a sudden, it would have like a bit of wind and it would be like a bucket had been thrown over you. Just came down so quickly, you were absolutely drenched. And then, like a minute later, the sun was out and you wouldn't have thought anything would have happened, but you stood there soaking wet. Oh dear, I remember that. That's funny. And I do remember playing in the garden, and I used to play with the lizards. I was an only child at that point, so yeah, used to play with the lizards, and we'd have banana trees in the back garden, and at night we could actually hear the lions roar because we were quite close to the bush where we lived, so amazing. Yeah, so these African animals, I think that's maybe why I want it to be so lovely when I finish this part. And especially the elephants, I've got a real, you know, just that memory of them walking along. So yeah, I love elephants. And a couple of years ago, my husband, my son and I went back to Africa. Well, I went back, they'd never been before. And we went to Victoria Falls and had a holiday there. Now, when I went to Victoria Falls with my mum and dad, I remember standing on a bridge and getting absolutely soaked. And my dad wanted me to go to the edge. And I was so scared. I was like, no, 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 I'm not going to the edge. And he was trying to, you know, tease me to get there. But no, I would not go to the edge. And that was on the Zambian side. When we went back a couple of years ago, we actually stayed on the Zimbabwe side. So I got to see that as well. It's an incredible place to go. The water just thunders down, well, they call it, don't they? The thunder. Is it thunder of water or water thunder? Something like that they call it. I can't remember the name now. They don't call it Victoria Falls, they call it something else, which means like thunder water, something like that. Oh, that's annoying that I can't remember it because it's a beautiful word. It might come back to me. Yeah, so that was a stunning trip. We stayed just next to the Victoria Falls. We could walk there and we could see the mist from our room. We had baboons in the gardens, just walking around. Because they couldn't care less, you know, they're just there. And also warthogs as well, we saw, just in the gardens of the room. So, but the colours over there, I mean, I have a thing about colour anyway, but they are just stunning. And the beautiful people could just sit outside our room and people were walking around carrying amazing things on their heads and wearing beautiful like wrap dresses. Oh, just stunning. So, and very kind people, I have to say, very kind. Right, so I'm going to do this symbol next. Yeah, so that was an absolute privilege to get back there. A very long journey, I have to say. We went from Newcastle to Heathrow and then Heathrow to Johannesburg. We had a bit of an adventure in Johannesburg because we couldn't find the terminal. And once we got there, they'd closed the flight and there's only one flight to Victoria Falls a day. So we were a little bit panicked. And, do you know, I'd been going on and on to my son about safety in Johannesburg, you know, about looking after his bag and things like that. And then when we got to the terminal and we got to the machine to book in, and that's when we found out the terminal was closed. I looked around for some help and there was a young man there with a lanyard on. So he came over and I explained our predicament and he said, come with me, I'll get you through. And he offered to take my bag, and because I had like a rucksack with me. And I just handed my rucksack to him without thinking twice. My son's face was a picture. And anyway, we followed this chap because, you know, it had all my money and my passport and everything in this rucksack. Oh dear. Anyway, we followed him and he got us through all of the different security checks and everything. And passport control and whatever. You know, he was amazing. He got us to our terminal and we gave him a tip and said thank you very much, gave me my bag back, and off we got onto the aeroplane. It was incredible, but yes, I won't live that one down, because if you'd seen my son's face when I just handed the bag over to him, oh my goodness me. Anyway, yes, so I did get a bit of telling off after all the things that you were saying to me. Like, yeah, okay. Do what I say, not as I do. And luckily, he was an honest person and didn't just run away with everything. Anyway. Oh dear, these experiences when you go travelling. Right. I'm doing the thunder and lightning symbol now. There we go. Yes, so I was saying it was a very long flight. Sorry, we got to Johannesburg and then we had to get this flight to Victoria Falls. Got to Victoria Falls and there was a car waiting for us at the airport. Oh, and there was a beautiful group of dancers outside the airport there. It was amazing. So they got up and did an African traditional dance for us in their grass skirts and their beautiful necklace jewellery. Oh, it was so lovely. And then we were whisked to our hotel, where we were given a lovely drink when we got there, while our cases were taken to the rooms. So I think we travelled for nearly a day, I think it was, all in all. So yes, it was rather exhausting. And we were doing like a short break, really. So we were there, well, we went for 6 days, but it was a day's travel there and a day's travel back again. So we were actually only in Africa about 4 days in all. And I have to say, if you're going to do that journey, if you can, try to go for at least 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But for us, we were staying in one place. We didn't, you know, a lot of the times when you go to Africa, you move to different areas. Whereas we stayed at Victoria Falls and we'd booked a safari. The safari was in Botswana. So we were able to drive, well, we had a driver, obviously, to Botswana for our day's safari. So that was amazing. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Oh yes, there's another story to tell about that as well. So when we got to our hotel and we were being checked in, one of the staff there said, are you, well, we thought they said, are you going on safari? So we said yes. Thought nothing of it, got booked in, went to our room, you know, had a little rest and unpacked a little bit. And then there was a note shoved under our bedroom door, which said, safari, be ready at 7 o'clock. Oh no, was it 8 o'clock? I think it was 8 o'clock. So we said, oh great, safari tomorrow then. Right, we've travelled all this way and now we have to be awake at 7 o'clock, but you know, it'll be worth it. So we decided to set the alarm in case we weren't awake, because we didn't want to miss a minute of this safari. Got up, got dressed. Oh, and sorry. So we didn't want to miss a minute of the safari. We went out for dinner. Well, we just stayed into the hotel, which was outside, to have some dinner. And when we got back after dinner, there was another note stuck through saying safari 7 o'clock. So we were like, okay, well, they must have realised that we need to go a bit earlier. So we reset the alarm to get ready for 7 o'clock in the morning. My son was staying in a room next door to us, so we made sure that he knew as well. The alarm goes off in the morning, we get ready, we get Ben sorted because, you know, making sure that he was awake and dressed, etc. Driver, we got a call, driver's downstairs for you. Brilliant, right, we're ready. Off we trotted downstairs to meet the driver. Got in his car and set off. Didn't seem to take very long. Was taken to this sort of, it looked a bit like a wasteland. And we were guided through these pathways along this wasteland. But when we came out of this pathway, the view was stunning. And we got a full view of the Zambezi River. It was incredible, and there was like boats lined along the Zambezi. Now, the safari that we were going on was a morning on the river and a morning on land, and an afternoon on land. So we thought, oh, this is just stunning. And we had a boat to ourselves, which had all breakfast things on. Oh, it was incredible. So we sat down and we, you know, people on the boat, the staff on the boat introduced themselves, asked us if we wanted some breakfast, you know, and then we set off along the Zambezi, and he was pointing out all sorts of wildlife, birds and hippos. We were just getting relaxed and settled in, and the staff on the boat got a phone call saying that we were on the wrong safari. So we were like, but this is so beautiful. Are we not going to Chobe? And he was like, no, we need to take you back to shore, and you have to get into a different car. So we said, well, we'd really like to come back and finish your boat trip another day. And he said, it's compliments of the hotel. So when the hotel had asked us if we were on safari, we think they were saying, would you like a safari on the Zambezi? So we were disappointed to have to get off the boat, but we got off the boat and off we went in the car to Botswana. However, my husband realised that he'd left his camera on the boat, and his camera pack had all our money in it. Great! So we had to ask our driver of the car on the way to Botswana if he could help us get the camera back. So he telephoned through to the boat. They managed to get somebody to drive to the border of Botswana with our camera bag. Oh, dear me. And as we were going through border control, they met the driver of our vehicle and the driver from the boat met and he gave them our camera bag. So once we got back in the car after border control, we had our camera and all our money back. So we were very, very lucky again with that. We were so relieved. And off we went to Chobe. And so when we got to Chobe, we were doing the river part, as I said, first. We got there and there was a small group of Americans on the boat, which was lovely. So we were able to chat to them and find out where they'd been and what their adventures had been, and it was great. So on the boat trip, we saw lots of hippo and crocodiles. And at one point, my son said, I think they've planted these crocodiles here because they were so still on the shore that they didn't look real. But as I said to Ben, why would they plant fake crocodiles when the country is full of real ones? And as we were leaving those behind, one of them did a big yawn, and it proved that they were real. We got very, very close. If I've got a photograph, I might just show you that, how close we got to the crocodile. And then we went along a bit further. We saw lots of springbok, all sorts of things, loads and loads of different animals and bird life while we were on the river. And we also went round a corner and there were loads and loads of elephants all at the water's edge. So we got a really good close-up view of elephants as well. Oh, it was just magical. Well, I've just explained why I love elephants so much. They're just majestic, beautiful, gentle creatures. They're incredible. So we spent a bit of the time on the boat watching them frolic about and watching how the matriarch of the families stay at the top of the hill while all of the others go down to the water's edge, and they just watch and make sure that everybody's safe. And then once those elephants have had their drink, the matriarch comes down and takes a turn at the water's edge as well. Just beautiful creatures. So after the river cruise, we then stopped at a hotel and had like a buffet lunch, which was beautiful, down by the riverside. And it was like a buffet, so you could just eat whatever you wanted. And we stayed with the same group, so we found out about more safaris that the Americans had been on, because they did like a nighttime safari, which I think you'd have to be brave, I think, to do a nighttime safari. And they showed us some photos of, you know, animals with their kill, as it were. So that was interesting. And there was another young couple who were on, like, it wasn't backpacking, but it was something similar. And they were doing camping at night. So they were moving from place to place and camping. And again, I think that is so brave to be out in the wild in a tent. I mean, obviously they'd have guides with them because it would be too dangerous to do on your own. Exhilarating, but terrifying, I think. So they had loads of stories to tell, so it was so interesting. And then in the afternoon, we went in the Land Rover along and round in a circle along the Chobe National Park, and we were really, really lucky to see zebra. So we saw 2 zebra. We saw giraffe. They're funny creatures as well. When they stand up and dip down to eat, they're like all gangly legged. So I might have a photo of a giraffe as well to show you. So what else did we see? Oh, we saw more elephant. And lots of things like African chicken, which are funny looking creatures. And I'm sure we saw baboon as well there, because they're quite common anyway. So it was just stunning. And when we were at the top of the hill looking down onto the reserve, it was just like you see on telly, with all the different animals all together at the water's edge. It was just like, oh my goodness, they are real wild animals. You just had to keep reminding yourself that, you know, they weren't put there. They'd actually gone there from their own behalf. it was just a privilege to see it all. So honestly, if you have an opportunity to go, I would highly, highly recommend it. So I definitely want to go back again one day. Right, so there we are. That is my story of Africa. There we go, right. Such good memories. Of course, at the moment, we're not able to travel very easily, are we? So, I guess we were lucky to go that year before all the uncertainty started. So I hope they're all okay over there and that the hotel has survived, because it is a very poor country. We were quite shocked actually about things like when you need money, you go to a cash machine, don't you, and you just draw it out. Well, over there, because we ran out of our cash, over there at the cash machines, they're not full. So as we walked to the machine, there was a chap sat on the wall nearby, and he was just shaking his head. But we didn't realise at the time he was trying to let us know that there was no cash in the machines. So, I mean, we were okay because we were able to buy dinner at the hotel on our credit cards, so, you know, it was fine. But what people do over there, well, I don't know, do they? Maybe they don't use the cash machines. I'm not sure, but we were quite taken aback. And also, one day we came out of the hotel and walked along the main road, and it was heaving with cars at the garage, and we were just intrigued by it. So when we got back to the hotel, we asked one of the members of staff, we're saying, why is it so busy today at the garage? Is it a certain day for swap over for holidays or something, you know? And they said no, they said it's the day that petrol is delivered, and because there's a shortage of petrol, everybody that had a car needed to get the petrol on the same day. So they all queued up for miles and miles to get their petrol for the week. And then just, honestly, just so taken aback by it all. So different. A real eye-opener. So it makes you thankful for what you've got. There we go. Such friendly people. There was like a marquee, well, not marquee, it was more of a, it wasn't a temporary structure, it was more of a market made with, I would probably say, steel sides and then like a fabric cover, and in there was just packed full of artists showing their wares. And I must admit, I was a bit of a cynic and said, oh no, they must buy in these sculptures because they were just so, you know, perfect, not realising that we were actually in the centre of really, really high workmanship. You know, people are trained from very young to make these pieces, you know, like carvings of animals and people, and just stunning. And had I realised, I would have definitely bought one of them. As it was, I bought a malachite elephant, of course. Surprise, surprise. Which is beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and it is obviously carved, so I'm very, very pleased with it. But if I'd realised about the wooden carvings. I would have definitely got myself some of those as well. So that's a reason why I need to go back. Need to go back for a carved animal. But everybody, all the artists were so keen to show off their work. And, oh, the fabric as well. Beautiful African fabrics, hand-dyed. Oh, just stunning. I wish I'd got some of those as well. You know, we are limited on luggage space, so I didn't. I would definitely take an empty case next time and fill it with fabrics. So. I bet if you went onto, what's it called? Not Google. Yeah, maybe Google Maps. Or is it Planet or Earth or I can't remember. Where you can see different places in the world. Have a look at Victoria Falls. You'll probably be able to see quite a lot online. Right. Going to do this one next. Well, I have to say, I've nearly done an hour and I don't think I've really got much of the animals done. So, do I let you go after an hour, do some more and then come back and carry on tomorrow perhaps? I promise I won't talk about my holiday anymore. Oh dear. It's hard not to talk about African animals though, but I won't. I've spoken about it enough. I've told you the stories. We'll talk about diamond painting instead. And if I do another WIP and chat, when I'm doing the cold side with the polar bears, please be assured that I've not been to Lapland or the North Pole or anything, so you won't get any holiday stories that time. Do feel like you can subscribe without being, without holiday stories being forced on you. It's like when people go away, isn't it? And then they're like, oh, let me show you your holiday pics. Oh, really? Anyway, you might have found it useful and you might have found it a bit amusing, some of my stories. I hope so. If not, just fast forward. Just fast forward through. Right, there's something starting here, but I can't quite make out what it is. Not sure, but that looks like legs to me. Right, I am going to stop my video here. I'm going to do a bit more, and then when I next come back to you, I'll try and do some background bits and leave the animals, and next time I come back to you I can finish where the animals are. Okay, so thank you for joining me. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. Please don't be put off by my holiday stories, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye for now.